Scorpio, hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a reading for February the 7th until February 13th, 2021. And as we continue to approach Valentine's Day, I am doing love readings again this week. They are still general readings, so they may not resonate for all of you. I do invite you to take that which is for you and leave everything else behind to get into your higher vibes. If you have not done so already, please hit that subscribe button right now. I'm here every week. I would love for you to be here every week as well. If this reading resonates for you, please leave me a thumbs up and any comments or questions you might have down below. See what's going on for Scorpio in love. Wow, coming strong out the gate. Okay, interesting. All right, Scorpio, overall energy for the connection here is the wheel. Getting started on a new cycle, closing out a cycle. This does not necessarily mean ending a relationship, walking into a new relationship. This may have to do with a cycle within a relationship that is existing for you. Ending it, starting new, trying to find different ways to approach some similar things. I do feel like the cards to me are saying that this, relates to an existing connection. But we also conclude with two aces, two opportunities here. So let's see. I don't know. Let's dive right in. For you in this connection, major arcana everywhere. Strength card, the Emperor, and the Magician. So you've been working maybe on some confidence relating things right now. This may have to do with confidence relating to how you communicate with your partner, how you interact with your partner, how you talk about them out in the world. Maybe you just, have been feeling like you've been a bit shy or timid in your relationship and you've been working on, building that up, becoming a little bit less of that. Because it's brought you to this place. This Emperor energy is very self-assured, very in their power. This is a person who gets stuff done. This is a person that you can trust to take control of a situation and really be able to deliver. Okay, and with the Magician too, it's like, I think the real focus for you has been on creating this sense of confidence for yourself. I think this is something that you have been putting a lot of work into recently, manifesting confidence, manifesting the perception that you can, get things done, that you can be a person who is in control, showing your partner perhaps that you can be strong for them, which may or may not be an issue for you right now. For them in this connection, we have the Eight of Cups, the Moon, and the Four of Wands. So for me in this partnership, this other person that you're dealing with here is having a hard time, I think, with the idea of stability or feeling confident that there is stability in the relationship, that there's, is there enough to be celebrating about in the relationship to keep me here? With this Eight of Cups energy, this is consideration perhaps of moving on from the connection. They're not sure if they're getting what they need, what they want, what's going to make them feel that long-term sense of coming home. There's a real energy to me of the coming home. With the Moon here too, I think, there may be something that they're not talking to you about in this. They may not be sharing this with you. They may not be making you privy to the idea that they're not really sure where they're standing. It's like they've got maybe one foot starting to go out the door, but it hasn't come to light yet. So be aware, be conscious of how conversations are going, of what kinds of words are being used. This, and again, this could be an ongoing thing that you're working on, right? If you're trying to show that I can take care of you, I can take care of us, I can do what I need to do, I can show you that I can be that person in an effort to maybe bring this person back in to prove to them that like there's going to be happiness here, there is stability here. Again, changing the cycles in our relationships, changing how we perceive our relationships. Getting into the connection energy here is actually very interesting for me. I don't want there to be any despair on what I just said. I think this to me is a relationship that work is being put in on, Scorpio. You're putting work in here. And you're doing your damnedest, okay? I think that like you're calling on everything to give you the strength, the power, the energy that you need to be able to repair whatever led to this, okay? To make sure that this person feels like, you know, you don't have their back turned on them, and that you want to be able to support and create and foster a place that is going to feel like coming home every time that they come back to you. It's really like what it's coming down to for me. And I hope they're being receptive, and I do think they are. We have the Chariot, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands. This is taking action on creating new opportunities in the relationship. What do I mean by that? This is taking action on reigniting the spark in the relationship. Are you feeling as though the spark is gone? Maybe you are not physically connecting with your partner as much anymore. Maybe that sense of like intimacy just hasn't been happening. So now we're going to start to take action towards getting that spark back, doing those things that are like romantic for one another, reminding ourselves of why we came together in the first place. We also have the Ace of Pentacles here. This is creating a new start, a new cycle, I think, for you in what the stability looks like in the relationship for both of you. What do I need to feel stable? What do you need to feel stable in this relationship? How are we collectively going to take action towards that here? How are we going to get started on a new cycle forward together that is fulfilling for both of us? There's work being done here, and I think that the give and take is happening. So fear not. Fear not. Let's do some clarifying. I'm going to start with clarifying the wheel and the overall connection energy here. The Strength card coming up again, the Page of Inspiration, and the Four of Inspiration or Four of Wands coming up again. So this is exactly what we were just talking about here. This is reapproaching the relationship, maybe like as it was in the beginning. Coming back to it with a bit more innocence is the word I want to use, but I mean it in a sense of like reapproaching things as if you haven't already been doing them for a while, when things were still like young and the connection was really sweet and you were able to, you know, visualize what that future looked like, visualize what coming home to this person might be like. And it's about like reinvigorating the relationship with that sense of confidence in one another. I think this is about reestablishing the balance. I think sometimes when we get into relationships, it can be easy for us to like get settled into things, you know, settled into routines, settled into habits. And then suddenly when we were creating these routines and habits, it was exciting, it was fulfilling, it felt like we were contributing new things to the relationship, and that adds to, you know, the romance. And once we get settled in, things can become stagnated. And you know, obviously that's maybe happening here. So we're looking for a new way to bring that joy back into the relationship, bring that excitement back into the relationship. I want to take a look for you in this connection at the Magician here. The Fool, the Priestess, and the Three of Inspiration. My God, Scorpio, so much of the major arcana here. Like, you're drawing it in. You're really working on it. I think like you've probably been spending some time recently, like physically making lists, mentally making lists of like ways that you can spark joy in the relationship, things that your partner really loves or cares about or responds positively to. Maybe just like writing down lists of things that you love about your partner to continue to remind yourself of why you were there, why you want to invest this energy. And I see a real willingness here for you, Scorpio, to throw yourself in, to see what happens, to just like put that energy in and do your best to just like see where it goes, being willing to be adaptable. And I think that you're spending a little bit more time probably doing reflecting, getting back in touch, thinking about the conversations you've had, thinking about the aspirations you've both talked about, to see if you can realign. There's a real like mutability about this to me, that you're willing to try and become a chameleon. You're willing to try to readapt yourself, to be there for this person. And I think that's very bold, honestly. I think that's very hard for people to do. It's hard for us to be willing to change who we are a little bit in relationships. And I see you really putting that effort forward here, because I think that you're not in any way prepared to give up on the connection, but you recognize that there's a distance going on. Oh, that just came up. 10 of emotions just came flying out. Long-term happiness. Long-term happiness. Let's take a look for them here at the moon. Seven of emotions, five of emotions, and the muse of voices. Yeah, this person may be lacking the confidence to talk about it with you right now. I think they're juggling a lot of feelings that they don't want to talk openly about, because there's definitely some fear here. There's like some heaviness and some sadness to the emotions that are going on. It's like reflecting on the past, reflecting on previous times where maybe they were emotionally vulnerable, maybe they were talking about their feelings to a partner and it just like didn't work out for them. It just made things worse. So this person perhaps is in the habit of having to keep their emotions close to themselves for fear of being rejected around them. So it's interesting that they're considering maybe an exit as opposed to just being able to talk about it. But I think this comes from, dealing with that kind of trauma, dealing with trauma that's like, the last time that I was in a relationship like this and I had these sort of feelings surface and I talked about it and then I was gaslit about it, and, it's scary. What do we got now? Universe just been throwing cards at me, so we're going with it. Two of inspiration. Long-term planning. Where do we fit in with one another? I also want to look for them at this Four of Wands. Feels like an outlier. Temperance, the Two of Materials, and the Three of Emotions. Yeah. Yeah, I just think like this person's maybe been bottling some of this up for a while. They're feeling like things are out of balance. They're not sure how to talk about it. They're not sure if it's fair to talk about it. Again, keeping all their feelings to themselves. And I think that this for them has created this sensation of there being something that is in the way, something that is in between the two of you. And it's not actually like a thing or a person. It is just this energy of being fearful of being able to be vulnerable, of being able to speak the truth to their emotions, and feel safe. So keep that in mind. Like foster a safe space for your partner to be able to talk. And with temperance here, I think this person's just having a hard time knowing when it's right to bring it up, because I think there is a want here for this like long-term sense of happiness, of fulfillment, of creating something very stable, and I think they are feeling like they are the one getting in the way of having that, especially if they're aware that you're putting this work in. So let's take a look in the connection. Let's see how this is going to start to resolve and come together. I think you're just dealing with somebody who's been hurt, been wounded, and having a difficult time getting past some of that to feel safe and feel like they can talk about how they feel without judgment and harm. Let's take a look at the aces down here. Let's look at this Ace of Pentacles, Hierophant, Page of Voices, and Awakening. Yeah. This to me screams perhaps an openness or willingness to consider therapy as a couple. I don't, and this may not be like that you're going to pursue it necessarily, but a willingness to take that action, a willingness to just try to find a safe space to be able to open up and have some of those um, feelings and things worked out together. Let's look at this Ace of Wands. Ooh. Six of Voices, Ace of Materials, and the Ace of Voices. Yeah, I think kind of in the aftermath of feeling like there's been a rift, been a bit of a divide, been, you know, that you've been kind of moving away from one another, figuring out what we have to do to pull it all back together. And I think this is going to stem from being able to just like start to have conversations, start to be able to create open dialogue with one another on both ends. Like Scorpio, there's absolutely no reason why you should be the one putting all the work in on this. I think, and I don't think there's like an unwillingness here. I don't feel like the energy here is like they're trying to hold you away or like push you away in any way. I think they just don't know how to communicate themselves. They don't know how to talk about it in a way that's going to make them feel heard and feel safe. And so I think really once you can find a way to open that channel of communication, it's going to open the relationship back up to being able to get back into all this, to being able to get started on reinvigorating the love. Let's take one last message from Spirit here for you. The Star, the King of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. This to me, Scorpio, is about the two of you becoming focused on that same goal again, on what it is that you both came together looking for, having an open, honest, nurturing, loving connection with one another, creating that sort of energy around the relationship together, and then also finding ways to getting back into having fun. Having excitement and doing things that are like kind of for the frivolity, and also making sure that the passion and that passionate spark still remains, that we can still kind of approach the relationship in that light. I hope this is helpful to you. I wish you the best of luck with this, Scorpio. And if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button on your way out. We'll see you next week.